After primarily training with weights for months, I was in need of a change. So I decided to put the weights down and only train calisthenics for an entire month. Would only working out with my body weight be too easy and cause me to lose gains, or would embarking on this challenge uncover the difficulty that resides deep within controlling one's own body weight? That's exactly what I was about to find out. But you gotta focus. Okay, so here's the thing. I once was extremely into calisthenics. Long ago, it used to be my primary workout to go to. Remember Bodyweight Beast and Bodyweight Beast 2.0, along with breaking and tricking? Now, when it comes to actual calisthenic skills, I was never that good. I always had really bad form, but I would say I was inching towards something kind of impressive. Let's just say that. However, over the past couple of years, aside from the occasional challenge here and there, it's been primarily weight training. And as you can see on day 1, when I try a simple skill that I used to be able to do so easily, the handstand, well, I was having quite the difficulty. Now, after about 10 uncomfortable minutes, I did get this about 7-second hold here, but it was sloppy as can be, especially compared to my old self. Exhausted from trying to balance and hold myself up upside down on my hands, I figured I probably needed to just work on some basic relative body weight strength. So I finished the rest of my workout on day 1 just doing simple push-ups, and then because my brachialis was actually irritated, decline pull-ups. I know, man, I feel like I'm just falling apart, but hopefully I'll be able to get it back by the end of this video. 2 days later, I would train legs, but primarily in the form of plyometrics. Now, I have been training plyometrics on and off since I had that big plyometric phase last year, but it wasn't to the intensity and volume that I was about to embark on in this workout. The boxes were actually all taken up this day, so I did a large volume of broad jumps and jump switch lunges, as well as some rim touch attempts, which, my gosh, I lost a lot on my vertical. Now, 2 days later, to finish off this week, I took a full body approach to this workout. But for the upper body movements, the bulk of this workout was focusing on those more advanced level static holds. Starting with the handstand, that did look like it had some improvement since day 1, so at least it was going in the right direction, but dang, it was like painful. And then getting humbled trying a tucked planche, something I used to be able to do, but not doing this in so long, it was like, ugh. Anyways, because I wanted to build up endurance strength to hold this position, hopefully eventually in this experiment, an exercise that I thought might help is just a planche lean hold with the feet still on the ground. Trying to maintain the best form I could with straight arms, the scapula depressed and protracted, i.e. just pushing my arms out as far as I could from my body, holding this position for about 15 to 30 seconds. And after all this, it was only like 15 minutes of messing around with these statics, but I was tasked. However, it didn't really feel like I had a pump, I just felt kind of in pain. So reverting to my meathead self that wanted a pump, after doing some basic leg statics, I hopped into some dips to hopefully, get the triceps working. I did a couple of sets of dips, and then I worked on some box jumps to also hit the lower body, because don't forget, this was a full body day. So way less of a pump, way more fatigued. That's the summary. Really frustrated at my static performance, I decided to take the first day of week 2 to go hard on statics, or at least I thought I was gonna go hard. After a brief warm-up, I got the parallel bars out, and then tried to work on the basic static combo of L-sit to tucked planche. Now, I was pleasantly surprised to see that my L-sit was actually better than I thought it would be, considering my tuck planche was so abysmal. So to help me train holding this tuck planche position longer, I got out some resistance bands, tied them around my pull-up bar, and then wrapped them around my feet, which still ended up being quite a mess. But then I found not using the parallel bars for the tuck planche with the resistance bands, well, it just seemed to work a little better for me, and I was able to hold it with the resistance bands for a couple of seconds, feeling what it would be like and feeling like I was finally getting somewhere. Oh, yeah. Now, I only did 5 more attempts and I was totally fried. So then I went and worked on some more L-sit holds, only about 4 more sets of that until I was totally toast. And then I did this hold, which would be an exercise and or a prerequisite for the full planche. I don't know what it's called, but it really hits the glutes. Followed by some hollow body holds for the core, and then I actually finished up with a trampoline session and a short run. Now, 2 days later, I wanted to continue pushing with the statics, so I had another session doing the similar movements that I was doing, and I did see some improvements. For instance, my handstand was looking a lot more solid. But when I tried foolishly to go to a straddle planche from a handstand, something I used to kind of be able to do, with bent arms. Okay. But yeah, it wasn't even close right now. Now, something I must mention is through the first 2 workouts on this second week, I was doing the mono meal challenge, so I felt like it was affecting my energy levels, especially on this second workout. But when I finally broke the mono meal challenge in my next workout, my entire body was actually just feeling better. If you want more details on what exactly I'm talking about regarding mono meals, check out the mono meal challenge video I did, a link in the description. Also, good news on this final workout for week 2, my brachialis was starting to feel better, and oh my gosh, wedgie bro. So I threw back in some pull-ups until I felt a minor irritation, and then I went to underhand pull-ups where I didn't feel any more irritation. Now, it was this workout where things started to shift. I started to feel like I was developing stamina for calisthenics. So I took advantage of this and threw in as many exercises as I could until I was fatigued. So aside from just the pull-up and push-up superset that I did in the beginning, I worked on pike push-ups, then I worked on these one-arm hangs, which was really a great way to challenge the forearms, hands, and grip strength using only my body weight. After finishing up with some core and a physique check where I noticed I was actually looking a little bit more pumped, well, let's just say I was feeling encouraged, ready to rest, recover, and tackle the next week to hopefully propel off this positive shift in momentum and make more gains with calisthenics. Now, however, coming from week 2, which I felt like the majority of that was focusing on those static holds, well, I wanted to not neglect and work on more of that base strength. So for the first day on week 3, concentrating on lower body, I did a lot of mobility, lower body calisthenics movements like bodyweight squats and also plyometrics, and then on the next day, focusing on upper body base strength, I went to the old Bodyweight Beast 2.0, choosing a day upper body and core intensive with movements like decline push-ups, incline pull-ups, and tucked lever holds. Also on week 3, coming out of the mono meal week, I really wanted to focus on getting more consistent protein intake to help my body repair and rebuild. Sticking to those clean, lean protein meals like beef, sweet potato, chicken, and rice, and then post-workout downing a protein shake. And you know what sounds good? A protein shake where they actually test for contaminants such as heavy metals and molds. And how about a protein shake that doesn't have those artificial flavors or sweeteners, but it still tastes extremely good and it mixes extremely well? That's right, I'd like to give a shout out to this video's sponsor, Transparent Labs. I have just been blessed to be able to partner up with them, but I've used their products now for many months, and I really think they have the best protein powders on the planet, as well as an array of other high quality supplements. So if you're interested or are a smart person and already use Transparent Labs, you can use my affiliate link in the description and code FOCUS at the checkout for 10% off your order. Thank you. Now, as I continued to focus on my base strength throughout week 3, towards the end of week 3, at the end of my workouts, I was noticing improvements on some of those basic static holds. My tucked planche finally looked like maybe I was actually going to get this again. My L sit was looking surprisingly decent. And then something I thought I would have gotten back a lot quicker, just your standard plank, that is with the elbows tucked into the core to make it easier. Well, while it was more difficult than I had hoped, it was improving. Also taking the majority of the time this week to focus on those more simple base strength movements, I felt like I had a chance to really work on that mind-muscle connection while doing these bodyweight only exercises. Also great news, by the end of week 3, my brachialis was continuing to feel better, almost 100%. I know I haven't focused much on pulling strength and pulling movements, and I was really hoping to get a muscle up back by the end of this challenge. Maybe now I would be able to do so, but I only had 1 week left. Could I do it? My body is hurting like ways I haven't felt in a while. Calisthenics is pain, but I do feel like I'm getting better. Can I continue to push throughout this final week? Can I get back my muscle up? Can I improve these static holds? Will I become, once again, a bodyweight beast? It's week 4, baby. Let's do this. Only bodyweight. I'm pushing hard. Oh, but you gotta focus. Let's go. what a journey, and I do apologize while there was nothing super crazy being achieved in these 4 weeks. I do believe I regained some serious strength and progress on some fundamental calisthenics movements, feeling more aware and in tune with controlling my own body weight. Now for the visuals, after 4 weeks of not touching any weights. I have to say, it looks like I didn't really lose any muscle whatsoever. In fact, I do look leaner, but I do actually want to attribute that to cleaning up my nutrition. But muscle-wise, like I just mentioned, I feel like I still maintained most of my size. Now finally, after 4 weeks of only training with my body weight, returning to the weights, it did feel a little awkward at first, but I feel like things picked up right where they left off. And then out of nowhere, I unlocked a surprising achievement that I've been trying for so long.
I think that's it!
Stay tuned for that video. However, this time going forward, I think I want to continue training and pushing calisthenics, maybe in combination with weight training, to hopefully achieve what I once had and maybe beyond this summer. Let me know what you thought about this video. Hope it was inspiring. Hope you all have a great day. Remember to always go at your own pace. Shout out to Transparent Labs, transparentlabs.com, my affiliate link in the description, and use code FOCUS to get 10% off. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Peace. I will see you all in the next video.